obviously unusual, not being there. So a lot of anxiety and, building up to that because you're just, you're not in control. So did everything we could, zoomed into all the meetings and talked to them, a pregame meal and all the stuff. And so just really proud of our players and coaches to handle a curveball like that and go play on the national stage really well against a quality team that gave people a lot of problems a year ago. Look at what these guys did to Notre Dame and shut down Notre Dame for the most of the game. So good first win, good start. Obviously, we got to clean up penalties, but that's easier to clean up than, not being able to get open or, not being able to get a pass rush. So some really good things in the game to build on and some things to work on too. And obviously, we got to learn how to tackle differently, especially if, we go to the Big Ten.
All right, Nick, you can start us off.
First off, Lane, how are you feeling?
It really is amazing what energy does, or whatever it is when you get into something, because I completely forgot about it when the ball was kicked, and so I forgot that I was sick. But I'm doing better. Thanks for asking.
And I mean, obviously the defense looked massively improved, especially in the first half. Just what did you see from them that allowed you guys to be so successful?
They played it how we're supposed to. Obviously, we completely changed schemes than we did a year ago, and had not talked about it on purpose and waited for this game, and whatever you want to call it, this 3 down and 2 linebackers and everybody else is DBs. So it's similar to some stuff that we played last year, Arkansas and Iowa State plays it, and just really thought it gives people problems in the offseason. So we went to it, and players bought in, and it paid off. Limited explosive plays, and saw a lot of guys running downhill hitting people.
Michael, you can start. You can go next.
Hey, Lane. In Dontario, I think he finished with 177 yards on 9 catches. I know we've talked a lot about guys like Braylon Sanders over the last few weeks. Can you just kind of take me through his performance and what getting him going really kind of does for this offense?
Yeah, I mean, you never know when you play in these systems and they go to take away people, and we got a lot of soft coverage outside and really deep. You wouldn't think statistically that was the case, but they stayed deep and didn't let us get behind them, and that takes away your outside receivers a little more. And so he's our slot, like Elijah was a year ago. So he ended up getting a lot more catches and opportunities. And 9 for 177 with 1 called back. So a really cool day by him.
Matt St. Jean, go ahead.
I guess I was supposed to wait for a mic or something like that.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Coach Chance, transferred in from the Big Ten, and he was just flying all around the ball. What did you see from him tonight, and what kind of edge does he bring to that defense this year?
Did a really good job. He's come in and been a good leader, and just been excited to have a veteran come in there and step up and play really well. And so that was great to see. And, the whole defense, a lot of guys made plays in there, a lot of guys on this tackle list. And, it was cool to see the players play well. And on top of that, to see the scheme come together and work well.
Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, Lane, how did you feel like your players would handle your absence tonight, and did they meet or exceed those expectations?
Well, I think head coaches get too much credit on things. I think in-game management matters. If you're on offense or defense and you get things changed in the game and help call plays, whatever, that matters. But the whole being there in your locker room speeches, that don't really matter. So, you can have some great locker room speeches and go out and they got better players and you don't matter. So I think part of it's overrated. But it was interesting to see. I mean, if they play like that without me on the road, I'm good with it. I just stay here. I'm already here. I don't got to travel back. I can already, watch Austin Peay film right now.
Go ahead, Nick.
Seemed like both Jarian and Henry kind of struggled, but Snoop was able to succeed. Just what kind of an edge did you see from him, and what was he doing so well?
Well, he ran physical like always. I think that they played better early against the run up front, and then like a lot of people, in our system, they wear down a little bit, and they lost the linebacker earlier, and I think that kind of, I just think they kind of wore down, and so you saw some tackles being broken late.
Do you know what the process is for you getting back? Are you approved for next week, or do you have to test negative? Just kind of what is the process?
I'm told that my days will be up, and I will at the last minute be there, whether that's Friday or Saturday morning, but I'll be there for the game.
Go ahead, Michael.
Lane, Matt took a couple of pretty big licks today. There was that one on 4th down where he picked it up, and there was one of the many targeting calls. But then I think he sat out for one play, and he scored on a keeper. Just how important is his toughness to what you guys want to kind of make your identity to be?
Well, I think in all football, especially college football, when you can pull the ball and be a threat, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but if you can pull the ball and be a threat, it changes how you have to play defense, so you saw that today. They were closing and he pulled a couple and made significant plays on them. Those are not quarterback designed runs. Those are usually handoffs unless the defense takes it away. So I've said it all along. I think the guy's really special. And, if he plays like this, the guy going to make a lot of money and go in top 10 picks.
You can go ahead, Blake.
Lane, who was actually the acting head coach on site tonight?
There was not, there is not a rule that you have to do that. And I just felt like to take one of the guys out of the role they're in, Levy's so significant on offense and he's upstairs anyway. Durkin, we had this new defense and getting the adjustments for it, to take someone like that and then they got to watch the other side and manage penalties and all that, I think would have hurt that side of the ball. So, we went over everything before. We've been together a year, so they know if there was communication with the refs, Coleman would do it because he was the easiest one because he could be on both headsets, offense and defense. So I think it worked pretty well.
Okay, Matt.
Coach, outside of not having to travel to the games, were there any other advantages that you saw being able to, watch it from Oxford, watch the game from Oxford?
No, not at all. And it's actually more stressful. I thought it would be the other way around. But when I'm on the game and there's a headset and I'm in game, it's not very stressful because you're just in the moment. It's a lot more stressful watching it, not being able to control everything.